From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Stepping for peace and knocking on doors for change. That's the goal behind a special event that took place today. Good evening, I'm Nicole Griffin. The annual march on the Far East Side turned heads as dozens raised awareness about change. Troy Washington is working for you to explain this after.
Councilwoman Lakeisha Jackson says there's a gun violence issue in the city that is being made worse because of the pandemic.
I think the pandemic has increased gun violence because when you starting off with no resources or little resources, it has caused an increase in people to find ways to commit crime, to become agitated. The mental health crisis has increased.
Today she hit the streets stopping traffic to bring awareness to the problem.
We inside walking today, we're in the street. Let's get in the street. That's what this is.
She says people are struggling right now, and she's also marching to spread the word about the resources out there for those in need.
We're letting the community know about the services that are available. Pathway Resource Center has a $100,000 grant from United Way CSURF, and they are available right now, pathwayindy.org. And we're going to do some door knocking during this peace walk. And so that they know about these services for rental assistance. As you know, the moratorium was lifted Friday, yesterday.
The plan is to bring the message of peace right to the doorsteps of those living on the east side.
I want to continue to fight. And until there's change, till we reduce this gun violence, I will continue to advocate and fight.
Working for you on the Far East Side, Troy Washington, WRTV.
Troy, thank you. And 2 years ago, the councilwoman fought to get gun violence acknowledged as a health crisis in the city. And as you can see there, she's still advocating for the cause with no plan of letting up. Today, another peaceful, silent demonstration was held at an Indianapolis mall. This time, about 30 people joined the We Coalition at Castleton Square Mall. Last month, the group that focuses on shedding light on the ongoing issues of police brutality held a similar event at the Fashion Mall. In a statement, the We Coalition says racial injustice is deeply systemic and they believe it's important to acknowledge. They are also concerned with how COVID-19 is impacting communities of color. They plan to hold more demonstrations like this in the future. Now to your forecast, meteorologist Kyle Mountain standing by. And Kyle, it was a great day to get outside.
Yeah, and Nicole, it's been a pretty interesting night here across central Indiana. And about the last 10 minutes or so, been looking here toward the west and southwest side of the city and seen a few of the meteors actually flying there, part of the Perseid meteor shower. So might want to step outside and see what you can check out here tonight. Seems like it's kind of calmed down over the last few minutes, though. 77 degrees for us right now, still a haze in the air. That humidity is at 74%. As we have temperatures all around central Indiana still in the lower to middle 70s. 73 right now in Martinsville and Tipton at 74. Radar shows that we've had a complex of thunderstorms back into portions of Illinois. Those have fizzled out, though, and I don't think we're really going to see much in the way of wet weather as we go through the overnight. Tomorrow morning, though, period where we could see an isolated shower, possibly a rumble of thunder as those temperatures start off around 70 degrees. That should pretty quickly move out of the area, though. Coming up, we're going to be talking about those temperatures today. They topped out close to 90, but we're going to get a lot closer to that average mark for the week ahead. We'll talk about a drop in the humidity to go along with it. Nicole.
Kyle, thank you. Continuing our coverage of the coronavirus and its impact on Indiana, the state health department reports 15 more COVID-19 deaths. 2,921 Hoosiers have now died from the coronavirus. More than 79,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. More than 897,000 people have been tested in Indiana, with 8.9% testing positive. Amid a grim prediction from the CDC over the possible death toll in the U.S. by Labor Day, the debate continues over returning kids to the classroom. Schools from preschool through college are looking for the safest ways to make that happen. Here's ABC's Trevor Alt with the details.
A sobering forecast from the Centers for Disease Control, predicting 200,000 Americans could be lost to COVID-19 by Labor Day.
We're starting to see the inkling of the upticks in the percent of the tests that are positive, which we know now from sad past experience that that's a predictor that you're going to have more surges.
But President Trump saying
this week cases nationwide have declined by 6%. The test positivity rate has fallen to just 6.5%, a 71% reduction from April and a 15% reduction from mid-July.
New findings from Emory University highlight the pandemic's staggering racial and ethnic disparities. In predominantly black communities, infection rates are 3 times higher and death rates are 6 times higher when compared to predominantly white communities.
People say, well, we're all in the same boat. You know, I tell people, yeah, no, we're not. Some people are in a dinghy, other people are in a yacht.
New guidelines from the CDC say patients who have recovered from COVID-19 and who aren't experiencing symptoms don't need to quarantine or get retested for up to 3 months. But testing delays continue to be an issue. In Rhode Island, some waiting nearly 10 hours for a test. And the nonprofit company CORE, founded by actor Sean Penn, is giving millions of dollars to expand testing for vulnerable populations in Atlanta's Fulton County.
This partnership and the integrated services that are able to be provided as a result sets an example not only for the state of Georgia, but for the rest of the nation.
Vice President Mike Pence traveled to West Virginia on Saturday, where he met with Governor Jim Justice, praising him for his handling of the pandemic.
Governor, I just want to echo the appreciation for the careful, thoughtful way you've really empowered local communities to have the information, to have the mitigation efforts, to be able to go back to school and back to work.
However, the debate over schools continues across much of the country. Columbia's the latest university to announce all fall classes will be online. 1,600 students and staff in Georgia are now quarantined after tests from some schools came back positive. Trevor Ault, ABC News, New York.
Trevor, thank you. Tonight, 3,000 backpacks full of school supplies are now passed out and in the homes of children right here in Marion County. A back-to-school drive-through giveaway was held today on the north side. ML and Trip Mentoring Outreach Center, Marion County DCS, and several other organizations came together to triple their normal efforts. In years past, they handed out around 1,000 backpacks, but this year, they know the need is even greater during the pandemic.
COVID has changed the need because where our scholars were at school and were able to get supplies through their teachers, that has been taken away with COVID because they're at home. So our goal today was to make sure that we're definitely supporting our virtual learners, that they have the supplies that they needed.
Some people, it's hard to get school supplies in the situations they're in. I really wanted to give back to them instead of just sitting at home and doing nothing.
McFarland Food also donated food to families in need, and Prairie Farms provided 1,500 gallons of milk. ML and Trip Mentoring credited their partnerships with IPS, Warren Township, and Eskenazi Heartbeat, among others, for making today's giveaway possible. They've done it before, but this time there is something different about the Postal Service's plan to raise rates. We'll explain coming up. In Democracy 2020, both parties are gearing up for their national conventions. The Democrats on Monday and the Republicans 1 week later. Meanwhile, the battle over mail-in voting is heating up. The U.S. Postal Service is warning for a majority of states, saying deadlines for voters to request mail-in ballots may prevent those votes from being delivered in time to be counted. Here's ABC's Alex Prachet with the details.
Protesters gathered Saturday morning outside the home of Postmaster General Louise DeJoy as the battle over mail-in voting continues.
There's no safer way for people to vote than to vote by mail. And this administration is actively trying to dismantle that system so that people cannot vote. And that flies in the face of democracy.
More and more states are looking to expand voting by mail amid the coronavirus pandemic. New Jersey is the latest state to announce all 6.2 million of its registered voters will receive a ballot in their mailbox.
Today, we are announcing that the November 3rd general election will be held overwhelmingly through vote by mail.
President Trump has been critical of mail-in voting, pushing baseless claims about voter fraud.
Universal mail-in voting is going to be catastrophic. It's going to make our country a laughingstock all over the world.
But his rival, Joe Biden, tweeting, voting by mail is safe and secure, Take it from a president who just requested his mail-in ballot for the Florida primary on Tuesday. The U.S. Postal Service warning at least 46 states, as well as Washington, D.C., that mail-in ballots might not be returned in time to be counted. In critical battleground states like Pennsylvania and Michigan, where the president won in 2016 by less than 1%, voters are able to request absentee ballots up until just a few days out from Election Day. But the post office says those deadlines are incompatible with their delivery standards, urging residents to request those ballots at least 15 days ahead of time. Only voters in 4 states, Nevada, Oregon, Rhode Island, and New Mexico, should have sufficient time to receive and return their ballots by the state deadlines. The president has threatened to block the additional funding the post office says it needs to handle the surge in mail-in ballots, but then suggesting that funding may happen if Democrats agree to his coronavirus relief bill.
But the Democrats aren't willing to provide other things, and therefore they're not going to get the funding for that. We want money to go to people. They want money in order to bail out states.
Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
Alex, thank you. The United States Postal Service is planning for a temporary price hike. It will go into effect from October 18th to December 27th of this year. The price increase is due to the high demand for online items. Package shipments will see a rate increase anywhere from 24 cents to as much as $1.50. USPS filed the notice with the Postal Regulatory Commission. The price hike is expected to still keep the Postal Service rates competitive while providing the agency with much needed revenue. Imagine getting this message. We regret to inform you that your college acceptance letter was in error. The dean of admissions at Syracuse University had to send out correction emails along those lines. That's after the school sent dozens of acceptance messages to unintended recipients. The emails even contained visa transfer instructions for international students. In the past few years, Carnegie Mellon and University of South Florida, St. Petersburg has even made the same mistake. SpaceX's next astronaut mission faces another launch delay. The target launch has been pushed back from late September to no earlier than October 23rd. This is according to NASA. The rocket will carry 4 astronauts to and from the space station. SpaceX hopes to follow the success of its historic first mission, which wrapped up earlier this month. Kyle.
And we're keeping an eye on the skies over Indianapolis. Seems like the meteor showers calmed down a little bit, but I did get a little video of it earlier, so I posted that to my social media accounts. You can check it out there. We've got 77 hazy degrees out there in Indianapolis. It's 71 in Kokomo and Bloomington at 73. Temperatures tonight not going to cool very much. We'll be into the middle and upper 60s as we start off our Sunday morning. 68 in Columbus and 67 degrees in the Lafayette area. And it will turn a little bit breezy, especially as we get in the afternoon tomorrow. We're going to have a cold front sliding through the state. That takes those winds, turns them out of the north, and that's also going to drop the humidity with those winds out of the north around 10 to 15 miles per hour throughout the afternoon. Here's a look at TrueCast, and we could see a couple of light showers associated with that front during the morning. 6:30 in the morning. Yeah, you don't see a whole lot showing up here. I think most areas not going to see a drop of rain, and even if you do, it's going to be very light here. As we get into the afternoon, actually an increase in sunshine as that system passes over into Ohio. Temperature-wise, 71 degrees for us at 8 a.m. By noon, we're at 77, and we'll find those temperatures getting into the lower and middle 80s tomorrow afternoon as we get a little more of that sunshine working its way back in. Average high is 84, pretty close to it in Indianapolis tomorrow at 83, 82 in Richmond, and Lafayette also at 82. Again, not going to have quite the heat index value tomorrow afternoon that we had today because the humidity is going to be dropping at times. Today it felt like the middle 90s in some locations, but once this kind of drops off, looks like it's going to be staying there as we get through the next couple of days. So overall, a pretty comfortable stretch of weather is going to be coming our way. Checking out the forecast here over the next few days, and those temperatures again are going to cool a little bit. Monday at 84, but then by Tuesday we'll get another push of some cooler, more dry air in here. So a high temperature of 80 degrees after starting off around 60. And I think we are going to see a fairly dry stretch of weather coming our way as well. Not many rain chances in this extended forecast for us with that high temperature 82 on Wednesday. Again, we'll start off there, upper 50s to around 60 degrees here. And as we go through the week, isolated chance for a shower or thunderstorm coming our way on Thursday. That's probably about the best chance of seeing any wet weather here during the work and school week, so the kids are really not going to need the umbrella. As we get into next weekend, though, Saturday does bring some scattered showers and thunderstorms. We'll start to heat it back up a little bit, too, as we climb into the middle 80s. When we come back, Dave First and Brad Brown are going to take us trackside to IMS with more on qualification weekend.
WRTV trackside from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Brad Brown, Dave First. Fast 9 qualifying. That's really what this day was all about. Rows 4 through 11 now set for the 104th running of the Indianapolis 500. That, of course, comes up a week from tomorrow. But the roll for pole tomorrow could be really interesting. It's a bunch of Honda guys, bunch of Andretti guys as well.
I'll tell you what, they looked really good on Thursday and Friday in practice, and they came out today and put up some big numbers. In particular, early on, we're able to kind of look for it, and then by the end of that first go-round, when Marco took to the course, we weren't sure it was going to happen. It was hot out here.
5 degrees or so. Track temperature was around 120. It shot up from the time qualifying started at 11 until Marco went out. It didn't matter, though. Marco goes out. 4-lap average, 231.351. He eclipsed his teammates Ryan Hunter-Reay, Alexander Rossi, James Hinchcliffe, and, of course, Colton Herta and Zach Veach. But I tell you what, tip of the cap to Marco Andretti. The 33-year-old might be looking at his first Indy 500 pole tomorrow.
I told Ryan, don't even come to my side of the garage. No, we got to work together because there's other guys we have to beat as well. You know, it's going to be about little things. It's going to be about getting every downshift right, every shift right, everything we have to do inside the car and the balance, and it's going to be what it's going to be.
So Marco talking there about Ryan in the other garage. It sounds like these Andretti guys, it might be every man for himself on Sunday. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, look, I mean, ever since Marco's rookie year when he lost to Sam Hornish Jr., that year at the Indianapolis, I mean, he's always been a bit snake bit around this place. Yeah. It's just never happened for him. But I can only imagine how happy he's been the way this week has played out. And man, Katie bar the door. Grandpa's going to be the happiest if he's able to win pole tomorrow. Mario Andretti.
Tell you what, Mario had a big smile on his face, I'm sure, today with that one right there. But that Fast 9, including a couple of rookies as well, really going to make quite an interesting mix when they go for running for the pole on Sunday.
The lone Chevy-powered entry belonging to one of Ed Carpenter's guys, Rinus VeeKay. Is he the Flying Dutchman 2.0?
30 years later, could we see something like that again?
We'll see how it all plays out. Fast 9 tomorrow begins at 1. We'll wrap it up tomorrow on WRTV Trackside at 6. For Brad Brown, I'm Dave First from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
If getting a nasal swab to test for COVID-19 makes you cringe, here is some good news. A new test could use your saliva instead. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration just granted emergency authorization for the Saliva Direct test. Researchers from the Yale School of Public Health developed it. It appears to be fairly accurate, cheap, and fast. Professional basketball players already used it. The NBA funded the test development, and teams give it to asymptomatic players. A new study suggests kids spread COVID-19 more efficiently than adults, and this is big news when it comes to sending kids back to school. More now from Dan Grossman.
If there's one definitive answer about this pandemic, it's this.
The information is still incomplete.
Even Dr. Kwang-Sik Kim doesn't have most of them, and he's the director of pediatric infectious disease at Johns Hopkins University Hospital.
Again, this is a very complex issue involving not just virus, everything else.
Lately, Kim has been trying to answer questions about a new study out of Chicago that says mild to moderately symptomatic children under the age of 6 have 10 to 100 times the concentration of COVID-19 in their throats as adults. Considering the questions so many school districts are grappling with at the moment, he says it could be concerning.
We don't have any real data to indicate to schools what they should do, what is the best recipe they need to follow.
Consider the variables involved. Kids can be impulsive, touch-oriented, and contact numerous people in their journey to and from school. If they are indeed more potent carriers, it amplifies risk.
Don't think about opening the school until the infection rate is under control.
Amplifies it past the level Lily Eskelsen-Garcia, president of the National Education Association, is comfortable with.
If you open a school before you get the infection rate under control, you will turn that school into the community's super spreader.
The NEA suggests only opening schools once the community infection rate is less than 5%. Same with the CDC and World Health Organization. That number currently sits near 8% nationwide. Even when schools do reopen, extra safety measures will still need to be enforced.
Make a decision for today, based on data available today, and then act differently when you have data tomorrow. I think that's to me, it's the right approach.
The study says young children will be important for targeting immunization efforts once a vaccine becomes available, while Dr. Kim says patience and flexibility is the way forward.
People really need to step back and then, again, cognizant of the fact that we do not have complete information.
I'm Dan Grossman reporting.
And this story just into the WRTV newsroom. Metro Police are looking for a missing 5-year-old boy. Amir Washington was last seen earlier today. He's believed to be with LaQuisha Green. She is driving a black 4-door SUV. She was last seen wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans, and she has no custodial rights to Amir. If you see Amir or LaQuisha Green, please call 911 immediately. Tonight, hundreds of families on the west side of Indianapolis now have free groceries thanks to volunteers from a local church. I-Town Church set up at Lafayette Square Mall on the west side today and gave out boxes of food. During the pandemic, I-Town Church has held drive-through events like this one all across central Indiana. Today, they were able to provide 900 families with fresh produce as well as milk, eggs, cheese, and frozen meat. We talked with a mother who drove by and saw them giving out food. She talked about the current needs that families are facing.
With everything that's going on, the pandemic, kids are out of school. Some parents not, even working right now, and jobs shutting down and unemployment and things like that. I have a family of 7, so we definitely could use a little extra every now and then.
What we're able to do here is just give people a little hope. It's more than the food. It's just knowing that somebody cares about you. When you know somebody cares, it will light that flame in you.
I-Town Church says when the pandemic started, church members reached out asking how they could help out those in need. They say since March, they have continued to ramp up their efforts to serve local families. And a big happy birthday to the oldest living person in the United States. This social distancing birthday party is for Hester Ford, who turns either 115 or 116 years old this weekend. Her family says census records indicate 2 different birth dates, but either age makes her the oldest American. And it's no wonder so many people have been driving by to celebrate her life. Ford has 12 children and more than 300 other descendants. She says she doesn't have a secret for longevity, but she does eat half a banana every morning, Kyle.
Hey, I eat a banana most mornings.
You're on the right track.
I didn't know. All right, well, we will see. All right, as we go into tomorrow, we could have a couple of showers out there as you're eating breakfast Sunday morning, but we'll see the return of some sunshine heading into the afternoon and temperatures that'll make their way into the lower and middle 80s. The forecast over the next few days actually keeps things nice and quiet with that drop in the humidity. We'll have highs right around 80 to 85 degrees even into next weekend.
All right, Kyle, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night at 6. Have a great night.